blessing on it. Too real, this ain't metaphoric. We just put the I in iconic. Buzzing like I'm electronic. Yeah, I put a blessing on it. See me dripping in it 24/7 on it. I'm just being honest. Holy water dripping from my neck to my crep, so I'm two-stepping on it like.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. This is Tiffany Foy. Welcome to the Rambling Gypsy podcast. And go ahead, tell them.
Oh, hello. Oh, we're fortunate to be fortunate.
There we go. Hey, everybody. This is Shawn Hart and a musician friend of mine. We met years ago.
I was trying to think of that. Maybe when I was with Zach. Was it maybe
probably
back at what it used to be called? The Vineyard at Green? Mm-hmm. What the villa is now?
Yes.
I think so.
I forgot about the whole name change thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a little.
But yeah, that was probably like 2014
bar,
to 2015.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, because I started the pumpkin patch and then you played there.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
was one of my
always been lovely.
Yeah, one of my OG musicians that started with me at the patch, and then here you are and blossoming and growing and playing. And tell everybody what you're doing. Where you at now?
Well, still playing.
Yes.
I've been doing some more bass things. I started, with Zach on the bass, and then kind of ventured into solo things. And then I've been starting to kind of do a little bit more bass stuff lately. So I play with Quincy Todd, who's like a rock and roll band.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my main bass thing. But then filling in around there, I just recently started playing with Brackish, which is BJ Thibodeau and Leon Waddy and Austin Curtis and Bjorn Borg, I wanted to say, but that's not right. Bjorn Johnson, I think,
okay,
on saxophone.
Right.
But yeah, still playing. And then this last year, little over a year, I've been working on the novel.
Yeah.
So some of the shows, or some of my time has been more allocated toward writing. And honestly, the editing and formatting and all that. But yeah, still playing.
So music's been when did you start playing music?
Oh, professionally or
just
in general?
Where did that come from? I have a lot of musicians that have been on the show, and we talk about that. I think that's just really important for people to understand where and what was your inspiration behind that. Is it
100%
family? Where did it?
So I got a guitar the summer before junior year of high school. I think it was in 2006. And the reason that I wanted to get one was we have this, they call it the review in high school. It's like a talent show, but there's no like judging and things like that.
The review.
And there was a gentleman named Alec White, and he was 2 years older than me. And he was up there with his band. They had a band called Fedora, and they were like this cool rock and roll band, and they played house shows and stuff.
Completely digging the name.
And then this year that I'm talking about that inspired me, he was up there by himself, and he was just him and a guitar, and he was sitting on the amp, and he sang Gloria, the Doors song.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
So then I went and got an acoustic guitar in 2006 and just kind of played in my room. In college, I played in just like, friends' dorms and things like that.
Right.
And then when I moved down here, it was actually Matt and Zach who kind of got me into playing music. So my dad and stepmom lived in New Braunfels, and I lived in Austin at the time. Gotcha. And they were like, come down and watch this show on a Wednesday night. And so I came down, and Matt came and introduced himself and said, oh, your dad says you play guitar. You should come play our break next week. So then I came to that, and then I played their break for a bunch of time.
Right.
And then started going on the road with them, just like, I'm free this weekend. Mm-hmm. And so I would like help them set up and tear down and sell merch and things like that. And then their bass player was leaving the band. So I was like, I know all y'all songs.
Right.
I'll buy a bass and learn how to play it. And if you guys ever need someone to fill in, I can do that. And then eventually they were like, hey, you want to come do a show? And then I was in the band there.
So a lot of people explain the difference in transitioning between acoustic guitar to playing bass.
Okay. I think the transition was easy, I guess, like to know because I knew chords and things like that. I knew like root notes. So I knew the notes where they are. But I will say that playing the bass has made me a much better guitar player. I know the fretboard much better now that I've played the bass.
Yeah.
The other thing is like the forearm from the forearm muscles. It took a little while to get used to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that difficult, I guess, to like at least know the notes and be able to do it. But then, you know, obviously you learn more. And
do you find that there's a lot of musicians in and around that you've run into that can swap and play acoustic and bass? Is that a common thing?
yeah, guitar and bass, because it's the same fretboard.
Right.
Like anyone that knows the notes can hop on a bass and pluck along. You know, obviously there's a ton of skill in the right hand. It's
Right.
not just knowing the notes, and, you know, not everyone has the best rhythm or,
Right.
you know, whatever. They're used
Right.
to playing leads, so they're whatever. But yeah, I think it does correlate pretty well.
Well, that's interesting. See, because a lot of people don't know that bass and the drummer have a whole lot going on there.
Yeah, a little relationship.
They
themselves.
do. They
Yeah.
do. So, yeah. And if you're not really familiar with how that works, so to speak, then,
And that can be tough, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of controlling going on there. You've got your lead, and then,
But if you can get the drummer and the bass player to lock in and
Yes.
just basically be one instrument
Right.
themselves, then I think that's kind of what you're looking for in certain kind of music.
right.
Other kinds, it's like, go ahead and show off.
Out of
Do
the
whatever.
two, do you have a preference?
Oh, between bass and guitar.
Yeah.
I think,
You like being the lead and in control, or you like that relationship status with the guy in the back?
I
Doesn't
think,
have to be a guy. It can be a girl.
yeah, there's girls drummers.
Yeah.
Girls drummers.
Yeah.
I think nowadays I prefer, if I could just play the bass, like I think I would prefer that nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's still, I don't know. I guess I enjoy knowing how to play the guitar because it's nice to be able to grab it and just
Right.
mess around a little bit. But I do love the bass.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now you have been playing for
Playing.
06.
Yeah. Almost 20 years, I guess. That's crazy.
I'm
It doesn't
old
feel,
as hell.
that made me feel old a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing
Shit.
it professionally since 2016, full time.
Full
Since
time.
2016.
And you're
In one
playing.
capacity or another.
Tell everybody where they can find your music.
Well, I do have an EP on like Spotify and stuff.
Nice.
It's called what's it called? it's called Real World.
There you go.
Yeah, Shawn Hart Real World. And I also have a couple other songs on Spotify and stuff, but
Nice.
mostly you know, I play live shows a lot, and
Yeah.
people can come find me there and follow me on the socials, to find all the dates and all
platforms.
that. Yeah,
So let's talk about this book you've got here.
please.
I am so excited. Have you always thought that that's is that Shawn Hart? I mean, the writer, the novelist?
Not at all.
No.
No.
Where in the hell did this come from?
So
If somebody would have said, do you have any idea that Sean's is thinking about writing a book? I'd have said, what?
yeah,
That'd have been like somebody said, tell him if I'm gonna write a book.
I think you should.
First of all, I don't sit down long enough. This is hard enough, but at least I can bounce around and
Well, with the technology
Talking,
these days,
yeah.
you can just like walk around, drive around, talking into your
Shit.
phone and have
Nick tries to
AI
get me to
write it.
walk around and just do a little notebook to record things that I'm supposed to be doing during the day. And I have to call her and go, what button do I freaking have to hit
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
this shit record and do? Yeah, right. Yeah, sure, maybe.
So
But-
the initial like reason that I wanted to do a book is because I have engineered and recorded two people's audiobooks.
Okay.
And I really enjoy the process of recording it and editing it and like all that. I find it fascinating.
Really?
But once I got done recording the second one, I was like, I really want to record one myself.
Okay.
So I was like, I wonder whose book I can find to like, you know, let me record it. And then I had the idea like, oh, I could just write a story.
Okay.
And so then I started thinking about like, you know, what could I write about?
Yeah.
And I worked in nursing homes for a while, like 4 years as an activity director.
Really?
And so I wanted the story is set in a nursing home setting.
Yeah.
And then I thought of an idea that would be worth like telling or people would enjoy reading.
Right.
And I just started writing, and then it just kind of kept going and going and going. And all of a sudden I had, all of a sudden there's 40,000 words on the computer, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this.
We're doing this.
Yeah. So then I just kind of kept going with it. And then in August of last year, I met a woman when I was on tour with Alex, Meixner, and she's one of his students and lives in Wisconsin and comes out to shows and helps with merch and things like that. And one of the other band guys, she asked where I was, and one of the other band guys was like, oh, he's over there working on his book. And she's like, really? And she's like, I was a book editor for 10 years. So
how are you doing?
Yeah. So like we chatted about it.
Sometimes timing is everything.
I know. It's so wild.
That's so crazy.
And so we talked about it, and she's like, I would be honored to like help you make this into a reality. And like, thank God she did, because I was ready to put it out in last October.
Right.
Or sorry, August. And then she took over, or, gave it a few look-sees. And if I would have put it out last August, it would have been so unprofessional, and like there was still so many errors, even though we've been through it so many times. Like, so she really kind of made this book into like, an actual like book, which is pretty cool.
What is the book? Okay, so you said it's about working in the nursing home? Is it? It's no.
I just wanted that as the setting.
Okay,
because it's like a world that I know intimately, and I know old people. Like, I love old people, so it's a story of a kid in college.
What's the kid's name?
Olin Sloan.
Where did that came from? Where did that name come from?
Well, I can't
tell me.
Yeah.
Why? Don't make me look. Right. I've cried on my podcast several times. No, don't make me cry.
Like that. We'll give your podcast listeners a little scoop.
Okay, a little tiny scoop.
So,
like a little taste at the ice cream shop.
The name came from if one was so inclined to go on the internet and look up the meanings of these names that are in the book, one would learn extra information.
Okay.
About the book.
Okay.
I guess I'll say that. But it's
so we're dangling carrots
slightly,
now. I like it.
But you have to be ready for maybe potentially a slight spoiler.
Okay.
Because there's a bit of a suspenseful. I tell people there's a dash of suspense.
Okay.
Suspense in this book, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to. I don't want to give it away.
No, don't.
You know what I mean?
No, everybody needs to dive into this thing. Okay, so we're
Olin's
in the nursing
home.
Olin, okay.
And he's doing, he's got pressure from his friends and his mom. His mom's a single mother, and she raised him by himself. And she's like, I think you should do this adopt a grandparent program, which was one of the volunteer opportunities.
Right.
She's like, you've never really had grandparents around. I think it'd be good for you to have a relationship with, some of these older people.
Right.
And so he does it, and he gets paired with this kind of grumpy old man at the nursing home.
Oh, Harold.
Who's kind of
What's his name, Harold?
Wow, they're actually.
That's my dad's name.
There actually is a Harold in the book.
Okay, look at him, just making a piece in the book.
That's so funny. So he gets matched with Alf and Alf Ainsley, and the book is kind of about their relationship and about learning about each other and learning about themselves through each other. And, about their journey.
That's so
And it's
fun.
It's a heartwarming tale. It'll make you... There's definitely some points that people have cried at, which is...
That's good.
It's
There's
flattering.
nothing wrong with shared emotions.
Yeah.
I am an all over the board, very emotional person. So I'll be the first one. My eyes will leak. Yep. My horns will come out. And yeah. Sometimes it happens at the same time. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I get that. Well, you have to let me know if any of the book's parts make you
yeah.
a little sniffly.
Yep.
But yeah, it's there's some of, and so the book, so I did an adopt a grandparent program in college. So that was like the main conceit of the idea, where I was like, I can tell this story, and then I was like, what can happen here? Basically, I wanted to get I wanted them to do this program, and then I wanted to get Alf and Olin out of the nursing home.
Okay.
Like on some, and initially I think it was, I wanted to do like, he was going to take him away for like a weekend camping trip or something.
Is that what you wanted to do with your adopted grandparent?
No, not at all. No.
Look, I'm not taking you, George. You're staying in here.
You know what's so funny is like my guy, like I wrote it in like the back of the book, but the only thing that I really remember about this guy, his name was Otto.
Okay.
And he was like just a big guy, quiet, whatever. I don't remember ever what we talked about or anything, but I remember one day I came to his room, knock, knock, knocked. He was like, come on in. And he's in there on one of those, like a commode.
Yeah.
Like a bedside commode. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can come back. And he's like, no, you're fine. And we talked for like however long it was, half an hour. And he's just literally pants down, sitting on this commode the whole time. That's my only memory of the guy.
I mean, you might be a little disappointed, but I mean, at least you got something out of there. Oh my God.
But yeah, the story is basically, I just wanted to use that thing that I knew and then go from there and get him out of there. So actually the first thing in the book is like can I read it for you?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, I'll do it on here.
Okay.
Then we don't have to move the book, the promotional material book.
There you go.
But it's funny because this is the first, like the literal first thing that I wrote for this book is what I'm about to read you.
Okay.
And then kind of found ways to tie that in to where we needed to go. Goodness gracious. Okay, here we go.
I'm so ready.
I should just grab the book. It would have been so much faster. But it's nice to have technology and have all these things all over the place,
it's mind-boggling
right?
to me that you're just opening up a little thingy, iPad little thingy.
Opening the thingy.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
You're
I
fine.
thought this would be so much quicker. All right. We're getting the book.
All right.
It was all the way at the end of the book. I couldn't bring it back.
Look at all of that going on in there.
Oh, this is my copy I put out at my book signing.
I love
or
that.
like book release party.
Yeah.
And had everyone sign it. Okay. So I'm going to read you here the prologue.
Okay.
And it's Saturday, April 21st, 2012. I was sitting behind the wheel of the 2003 Toyota Corolla my mom had gifted me, hazard lights flashing, windows down, hands at 10 and 2, waiting for what was next, waiting for some answers, waiting for this day to end. I was in my head, maybe meditating, not present at that moment, thinking about what had just happened. My life would never be the same. This night would change everything. I snapped back to reality and focused on what was around us. The red and blue lights illuminating the countryside like a silent rural rave. I suddenly remembered what Mom had said when she had given me this car. Don't use this to get into any trouble, Olin. Whoops. I saw a field, a few trees, a long stretch of telephone poles, and a little white stone house. I couldn't help but wonder if people inside the house were awake, or awakened by the flashing lights, or if they were watching out the window to see what the disturbance was. We were in a big stretch of nothing. I can't imagine they saw much action out here. I glanced in the rear view, too bright to focus. The light from the state trooper's vehicle was blinding. There was going to be lots of questions. Who are you? Who is he? Where are you headed tonight? What's in the back seat? I didn't know how to answer these questions. I probably shouldn't answer. Probably I should wait till I could call my lawyer. That's what they always did in the movies. Yeah, that's what I would do. In the movies, the lawyer always knew what to say or who to get on the phone. They always got their clients out of trouble. They made everything okay. I wished I had a lawyer. My body felt numb again, like I had fallen off a building and was waiting for the ground. Better call Saul. I snapped out of my daze when I heard a car door shut behind us and noticed the flashlight beam bouncing in the side view mirror toward the passenger side of the car. I could feel my heart beating double time in my neck. I couldn't control my breathing. I thought I might pass out. This was it. This was exactly what I feared when I first heard this 74-year-old man's plan. I glanced to my right as the trooper was stepping to the window, and there was Alf in the passenger seat looking at me, smiling.
Wow.
So there you go. There's a snippet of their
snippet.
journey.
Well, this is so exciting.
Yes.
And how long did this whole process take? I mean, from that
I started
part.
in October of 23. So a little over a year.
Right.
And I finished in like January of getting like all of the formatting done. Because you can't just write a Word document and like send it. You have to do this whole editing process that's like, so that when it's on Kindle and things, people can change the font and like do all those things. So it's like way more involved than I ever like knew.
Right.
So it took a little longer, I guess, that part. But the writing of it took from October 23 till right about May of 24, like to actually write the story, just get it all out on paper.
I've had another gentleman on the podcast that we've done. He has now written three.
The Jungle Guy?
Jungle.
Yeah, I listened to all three of them.
Such an interesting human. This man is, I just feel like I can never learn enough about him. So I don't know that I've really met anyone that has ever written books or novels or.
How did you meet him?
Through mutual friends.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He was an interesting fella.
He really is. He is. And we've become really good friends. But he has a certain setting that he will set himself into. And that's when he just starts flowing.
Right.
Did you have that type, or do you have that type of a setting? It's almost like a songwriter type deal. I mean, is it the same? I mean, his books are smaller. They're
short stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I
mean, you got a full on.
It's a novel. It's 300 pages.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, I think maybe what, like a flow state is what he's talking about, where it just is kind of coming out and you're not, almost feel like you're not doing anything.
Right.
And yes, there have been times where even when writing music, playing music, and writing this book where, it wasn't necessarily a setting for me that I needed to be here or here. It was just more of being able to open
a mental state,
the mind to let the things just start flowing. Because that is how it feels sometimes. Where even I've had songs like that where it's like, I don't feel like I wrote this at all. Like it's I don't know where any of this came from.
I was just wondering to each their own, and everybody is different, but like Co's song that he just put out, I mean, he started that song a long, long time ago. And I don't think he said like 10, 12 years or whatever, 9 years. Don't quote me completely on that, but it was a long ass time that he chunked it and it just sat down, and then boom, here it is. Number one on the charts, but it was 9-10 years later. And
was it one that he kept coming back to, or like kind of sat on the shelf for 9 years or whatever, but he kept working on it for that whole time?
No, he had messed with it and just was never really happy with it, and kind of picked it back up, and then boom.
I think
just kind of all came together,
like
I guess, at that
set
point.
Of eyes,
Maybe,
10 years later, you've got a brand new set of eyes on it, and your whole mental, everything in your life is different. So I bet that song kind of, maybe it struck him a different way. So then he had a different emotional attachment to it.
I was just wondering, like in a novel with, 300 pages, that's a lot. Is it one of those things, or for you, a lot of people will pick up a book like that and they can't put it down until they're done, and they will power right through it. But then I know so many people that will not stop until they are from beginning to end, because they're that into. Is that how you felt with? Because to me, when you're explaining the timeline on putting this together, it doesn't seem very long, considering, a year. That's really, honestly, for writing a novel, in my opinion, is nothing.
Yeah, it went quick. So
did you just get so involved in the story and putting everything together where you just couldn't put it down to where you felt like it was just?
Yeah, I definitely was very intent on all of my time, my free time, or even I think I'm gonna head home and just go write. But for me, my productive time is midnight to 4 a.m.
Yeah,
no matter what I'm doing, and so. That was helpful to have no distractions.
Right.
So I would just kind of write. Most of it was written in that time frame, probably.
Yeah.
But then editing wise, I really wanted to do this, and so it didn't ever feel like work. It was just like, sweet, I get to go work
Right.
on the book and
Yeah.
like make it more of a book.
How was the editing process for you? I mean, that's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And was that difficult? Were there times where you just felt like beat down, or was there any part where you were?
Yeah, definitely. So
I get my feelings hurt. I mean, yeah,
I hear
I
you.
could just be like, "You, what do you mean?"
So
yeah.
the first round of edits came from my former high school English teacher.
Okay,
Who I
nice.
reached out to her and I was like,
Really?
hey, would you mind, reading
Yeah.
this? And there was a lot of things, a lot of commas and
I
periods.
thought I taught you
and-
better than this, Shawn.
and so all of
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
What that? Were you absent? Were you not listening
Yeah.
that day?
Exactly. So I was like, all of that didn't hurt my feelings at all because it was just like, oh yeah, like I just don't remember this stuff.
Right.
So it was like, thank goodness I have this, and I was able to go change it. And then there was one time where I was like a little defeated, and it was when Fran got on board, the editor
Okay,
lady.
yeah.
We last year at Worst Fest, she came down and we met and talked about it. And I think mentally I was in such a place where this book was like ready to go.
Yes.
And we sat down.
And then she came and sat down and tore it apart.
And I knew that she was gonna have a lot of edits and
Right.
stuff. But I was like, we'll do this edit, and then like I'll change everything, and it'll be good.
It'll be fine.
And
On
she
the
said,
10th edit.
but so we sat down and she said like, this is the first run through of a few, and I'm like,
few?
oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought this was like so close
yeah.
to being done, but that was the other thing is I didn't like tell people that I was doing it,
Right.
Because I didn't want to have that pressure put on it. So then I think at that time I had started telling a couple people, because I was like, man, this baby's done. It's ready
Right.
to go.
And then Fran showed
Then
up.
like 6-7 months later, I'm like, it's actually out now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And
That's-
it's been super exciting.
That is really epic.
And I can't believe like it's tomorrow. I don't know when this will drop, but tomorrow the 23rd. Wait, what's tomorrow? The 26th. Thank you. It will be live on Amazon on the
Nice.
Kindle version, and then the 28th it'll be live on Amazon for like someone can go buy a paperback book.
Yeah.
if they
We will
want to.
share that and put all the links and do
yeah.
all the things and tell everybody about it. And
Thank you.
yeah, so you did a book signing.
Yeah, I hesitate to call it. It's more of a pickup party because I did my
tell
own.
me all about that. Like
I did my own.
the whole thing is just I'm
Well,
so proud of you for this whole experience, and
Thank you.
it's just really, it's amazing.
Well,
and
it's-
then just a book signing, like, wait, what?
Well, that's why I
That's
called
so
it
cool.
a pickup party.
Okay,
because
yeah.
I did my own pre-order.
Okay,
I found a company online that you print your book. So I did a pre-order and like then had a bunch of books that most of the people were in the area. So I was like, let's do this party so that these people can come pick them up and I don't have to
Right.
deliver them all.
Okay,
which has
yeah.
been it has been fun to deliver books too.
yeah,
So I was like, we're just gonna do it at Vino.
yeah.
Vino and Verde, 6 to 8, no
Nice.
big deal. I thought people were just gonna like pop in, pop out,
Yeah.
and people were hanging out the whole time. There was, it's crazy to say, but like from 5:45 to 7:30, there was like a solid line of people like waiting to pick up their book.
Please tell me you got
buy
pictures
a
or
book.
somebody got.
Yeah, there's nice pictures.
Good.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind of I haven't really experienced a night like that where it was
Yeah,
just
it was about you.
and like
Just
something,
Shawn.
because the shows that I play in town like are not 100% original music,
Right.
And so like when people are like, "Oh, that's great," I'm like, "Thank you," but it's like,
Yeah.
that's Tyler Childers' song, or whatever.
Right.
So like this was like really kind of special
is
because
you.
it was like something that I
You did.
completely created and
Yes.
everything.
That's your baby.
Yeah, so we did the book signing, I guess you'll call it.
Yeah.
And then I delivered books the next day all around the area, and then went to Wisconsin, which is where I'm from and where my mom lives and brother live with his family. And so I went up there and delivered books on the way because I had some stops on the way.
Yeah.
And then did another like book release, book pickup party in my hometown, which was very special as well.
That is so epic.
Yes, And
That
then
is
I've
so
been
cool.
mailing out the books this last week. I spent a lot of time at the post office the last few days.
Look at you.
But I think all the books are sent out now, which is exciting. And then with the Amazon stuff is exciting.
It's
and
just all coming
it's all
together.
coming
I
together.
love it.
And I also want to mention that the cover, this.
Yes.
So that was designed by a friend of mine, local artist and lovely person, Charlie Brandenberger. And she's like, she does like tattoo makeup
Yep, she
and
sure
facial
does.
stuff and all this stuff. But she also like plays the violin. She writes songs. She can draw and all this thing. So
One big ball of talent.
yeah. So I reached out to her to see if she could, I sent her a picture of, those are the trees from the big ass trees in Landa. So I sent her that picture and I said, this is what I want for my cover. And that was literally the first thing she sent me. She's like, I can change anything. I was like, it's
Boom,
literally
done.
perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's been a great process as well.
That is really good.
And then my friend Dana Derryberry with Love Dana, she
Yep.
did my
Your photos.
author photos.
Yeah, we've done some shoots with her. When
She's
we were with
amazing.
Andy, and yeah, she's a blast.
And her
She's
style is so great.
fun.
Ugh,
Yeah,
I
she's a
love it.
blast. She's a good time for
Maybe,
sure.
what do we call that? Boho?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep,
I like
yeah.
that.
She's cool. She's really cool.
So yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of talented people that have jumped on board and, helped me really make this book a reality.
Yeah. So what's next for Shawn Hart? We got some more
Wow,
books coming
that's-
out. What are we doing?
Who knows
What are you
next for Shawn
doing?
Hart?
Yeah, this is so cool.
I could be doing anything, I guess.
Yeah?
I want to continue to write. So I have a couple things that I've been working on.
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool to kind of be able to use my experience in the music world as the backdrop for a story. So there's something in there that I've been working on. I think it would be fun, and I think it would be something I would enjoy is writing like a romance, like kind of a spicy romance thing. Mm-hmm. So that might be something in the future as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah. Your eyes and ears and all the
ears,
things.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, literally what's next is, sorry, I completely forgot, is tomorrow night I'll be going to a friend's cabin in Blanco.
Okay.
And I'm recording the audiobook for that guy.
Nice.
Yeah, which is the reason that I wanted to write the book was to do the audiobook.
To do the audiobook.
So I'm super excited to finally get the opportunity to do it.
What is the process in doing all of that? I mean, is it
Just like
literally
this,
just
kinda.
you sitting in? Yeah.
You try to make relatively sound, as a independent person, you're trying to make it soundproof and
Right.
put up some mattresses or something. But yeah, basically just record it like we're doing, except into the computer, and then
Gotcha.
I was happy with how the reading of the prologue went. I was like,
Yeah.
man, if I could knock out that long, it's not going to take very long to do.
Right.
But yeah, so just do it, and then once you have everything in all the tracks, then just editing. Like if there's a long space where you're
Right.
breathing or whatever, just making it. And that's the part that I like.
it
Is
flow.
it's kind of like a puzzle. Yeah, to where you're listening and you're like, oh, that was just a little bit too fast of a response, and
Gotcha.
back it up.
Yeah.
So that part takes a while, the editing.
Right.
But I really enjoy it. So can't wait. But
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to plan on narrating it.
Okay.
But my ultimate dream would be to like voice act it and be able to do all the different voices for the different people. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to narrate it.
We got some good accents going to come out of there, or what?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of there. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries. What was I going to say? Oh, I know. Growing a novel, a book, like you do in the music industry, I mean, there's a whole process on how you take from playing one song, writing a song, and getting it to the top. Is it similar to getting a book to be a New York bestseller?
Well, I know that.
First of all, you've never written a book before, and boom, here we are. I mean,
There's step
a
one, I
300
guess.
page novel
Yeah.
that Fran at Wurstfest in New Braunfels came up probably with a sausage on a stick or a pork chop and sat down, and all of a sudden, boom, here you are. You've got a book out. I mean, who's going, okay, Shawn, we got a plan. This is how this is going to go. What do you do? What do you do with this thing?
I'm the only one with the plan.
And I love it.
And so this, I guess, if you wanted to, you need to sell 5,000 copies, I think, a week to be New York Times bestseller. And so, like, I think if you want to achieve that, then you need to go traditional publishing. And, you know, obviously there's exceptions. But this book to me was such a personal endeavor.
Yeah.
And, like, the things in the story, a lot of, like, the background stuff that's happening is things that come from my life and things like that. So it's such a personal thing, and I was so happy with the story as it is. I was not interested in shopping it around and having someone be like, we really like it, but could you change this?
Right.
And this, I was not in a place where I wanted to change anything. So that's why I just went ahead and did the self-publishing route. Now, as far as trying to grow that, you know, I'm doing what I can, and I've been... I've asked ChatGPT how can I? What's a good strategy?
You have a bestie too, yeah.
So, like, you know, I'm trying to look at things and see how that goes. I think it'll be interesting to see how things go. You know, tomorrow when it goes live,
right?
You know, I've have just a couple pre-orders on it now, but also I'm just, to me, it's
Oh,
already success.
absolutely.
Because it's here.
Yeah.
And
That's huge.
because I was able to get the story out that I wanted to.
Yeah.
To me, it's already, I don't care.
It's already done what it's needed to do.
You know, it'd be great if it sold a bunch or whatever.
Right.
But I don't really care about that. I'm more just, this one was more for me. And if I do stories in the future, then I'll be going the more traditional, like, I'm going to write this in order to get it published.
I didn't really realize that you could do this without having
Like a self-published thing.
Yeah. That's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, they make it super easy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a ton of websites where you can get your books printed.
Right.
But I don't know when it started, but they have Amazon has KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing.
Oh, okay.
And so anyone can publish on there. You know, they have standards and all that.
Right.
But as long as you follow the directions and all that.
Gotcha.
They make it super simple for anyone to upload their material, and they'll even give you, so books have an ISBN number, which is like an identifier.
Okay,
for,
like a serial number?
Basically. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And so with KDP, you can even, if you choose to, you can get a free one of those from them.
Gotcha.
You know, then your book's a little more restricted, and they come up as the publisher if you buy it through them.
Okay.
But if you want to go like, I have a story, I just want to put it on Amazon, you can do that for free.
That's really interesting. I bet there's a lot of people out there that are sitting on the edge that had no clue that is even a process. Or
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Advice that you could give to anyone that has ever thought about writing a book, that is, what was your learning? What was the one thing that, I mean, you wish you would have known then what you know now?
Well, I have a handful of people since I've done this have come up to me like, I'm working on a book, or I've always wanted to do a book. And to me, then the number one thing was just to do it. You know, and I know that's maybe not the best advice, but literally, if you feel like I'm not feeling creative today, or I'm mad, or I'm this or I'm that.
What made you remove that fear from you to take that step?
I never thought about doing it until I was like, I want to do this audiobook. So like, to me, I wasn't scared to do it.
Gotcha.
I just like thought of doing it, thought of something that would be worthwhile writing, and then just started.
Let it go.
And I think that was just starting and not being critical of the early writing. I listened to this book by the Duplass brothers, who are directors and writers and all that. And they called the first draft the vomit draft, where you're literally just putting words on the paper. You don't necessarily
Jungle
need,
said something kind of similar to that, where he would literally just,
yeah, like even in there was be points where it was like Olin says, and then couldn't think of what he was going to say, or didn't want to spend time on that. So just like put in parentheses or whatever, like say some sweet shit or whatever, and then just keep moving on with the rest of it and just get the idea out. Because then when you go back, every time you go back and read, then with the editing process, you can really be like, take it one sentence at a time or one word at a time and just be like, is this what I wanted to say? Is this what I meant? Because if you have it written down on the paper, you can kind of see what you were at least trying to do. And then when you go back and edit, you can kind of fine tune all that. So I think the most important thing is just write your thoughts. Like, don't worry about if they make sense to you. That's not going to be the final draft. I don't know that there's ever been a first draft book that went out. And I guess that would be, I never thought about that. Like, to where it's like, you don't need to you're not going to have a book just in one thing. So just get the ideas out there. Just start going. Let your brain go. Don't be critical of yourself, I think would be the main advice, I guess, in all of that.
I think in doing this, it would be in the editing process or whatever you're writing about. In real life, we all make mistakes. We all make choices. We all do things that we think, oh, that was really fucking stupid. You really shouldn't have taken that left turn, and you should have stayed on the road or whatever. When we make edits in our life, those become choices.
Yeah.
If you don't make the edits that you think that you should do, those become, and they're constant and they're the same thing over and over, then those are mistakes.
Right.
Did you feel like when you were editing the ends or the beginning or the middle of the story, is that relatable in your personal life? Did you feel like, man, I think I'm going to have Olin do this because I wish I would have edited that in my personal life?
Sure. I see what you're saying. I got you. Let's see. Well, the first thing that came to mind, and I can try and think of more, but it's just a small one. But in college, my roommate, Olin's roommate, they're based off that relationship.
Right.
She could hear me, like I was playing the guitar. She could hear it through the wall, and like just tried to text our other roommate and accidentally text me about my noise. And so like in the book, Olin is very like considerate about the noise and all that,
right?
Based on my inconsiderateness.
Okay.
But let's see things. There's so much of the main story is not based on my life. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that in small ways, I did that, but I can't think of anything super big where I'm like, if only I'd done this. And then so I made Olin do that.
Right.
I don't think so. But in the small ways.
See, definitely. I was sitting here just thinking, when listening to you talking, I was thinking, if I was writing up whatever, a story or going along, and because my life is such a freaking whirlwind all the time, and I'm always getting into things and doing awkward things and stupid shit and whatever. But
that's why we call you the tornado.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I could just see me just having so much fun with a book, making it just wild and obnoxious and crazy. And
I think if I wrote, if I finished whatever I'm working on now with that music book, I think that one would be something where I would want to make my characters, or at least one or whatever it is going to be, like my aspirational.
Almost like your avatar.
Yeah, living out. Yes, 100%.
See, I think that would be fun for me to do.
100%.
Like if you're playing your bass and all of a sudden you just want to jump off into the crowd, into the mosh pit or whatever, and you know that you're never going to do that in real life.
Yep.
your next character needs to be jumping out in the
I think-
crowd and just
Yeah,
having them
I
spin
think
you
our
all around or
musician
whatever.
guys, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just things like that. I'm thinking
100%.
There's
because then you're kind of living. Yeah,
you're living
like
through your book.
daydreaming.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like your
I think
avatar. Yeah,
Maybe that's a good way for you to get like motivated to write your book. Then you
yeah.
live in your.
Look at Nick's head going, Shawn, shut the hell up. Yeah, there's no fucking way.
Oh, that's
I can't
funny.
even get, no, I'm good. Just find where my little sticky note is to keep my notes and
All right, that's fair
What
enough.
have you.
We don't
Yeah.
all have to write the books.
no, I am just so proud of you. This is so epic. And it's how,
Thank you.
mean, when I heard about this, I was like, wait, what, a book?
Yeah, a full ass
Wow.
book.
Yeah. A 300 pager.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's not even any pictures.
No Winnie the Pooh, no nothing, no. That's
No.
just too cool. That's really cool.
And at
Well,
the end of the book, there's a reference guide that's kind of like some of the things in the book. It'll tell you like, oh, this came from this in my life or whatever, or like that's why I use the term or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a little bit of
There is a
me.
little bit in there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's mostly the filling out of the story. Those details are coming from things in my life, I guess.
Awesome.
I got to go. So this nursing home that's in there is based off of a nursing home the first nursing home I worked at in Cedar Park.
Okay.
And last summer I went up there and like talked to the administrator. I was like, can I walk around?
Yeah.
Just to have a glimpse.
Just to get a-
I used to work here, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And it was so wild to walk through that nursing home. And like, I felt like I could feel the book. Like when I looked at the dining room, like I could see the
Yeah.
residents like laid out for their little meeting and
Okay,
like
that's cool.
walked by this living room and could see
And
like
you could-
Alf and Olin.
Yeah, hanging
engaging.
out.
Dude, it was so crazy.
That is so cool.
I was so
I can absolutely see that happening.
yeah, I was so fortunate to like
Yeah.
do that. And memories from when I worked there, like it was things I hadn't thought about since like 2012. And all
That's
of a sudden
crazy.
they're just like I would see one little thing and it was like boom, all these
Wow.
memories come back. And it was cool. I got to add a couple of the like names of residents that like were special to me
Right.
because there's everyone's special and you treat everyone nicely, but inevitably there's going to be like
There's
a
those-
certain few that are
Yeah.
like grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And so got to add a few of those folks in there, which was
That's so cool.
nice. And hopefully, love for their families.
And
to
you
read
did
it.
that visit in between or before?
It was like after I'd written the whole story.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't want to go in there before and just like smell it and see the couch again and
I think I
see
did.
that toilet seat one more time before
That's
you.
funny. I think you're right. I think I did. I drove by.
Do you
like
do?
when I first started or
You
before.
thought this is the one.
Well, I knew it was going to be the one.
Yeah.
Because I love that nursing home.
Yeah.
And I was the 5th employee hired. So we worked there for like a month before we had any residents or anything.
Wow.
So it was like, felt like a home. Felt like our
Yeah,
home.
right.
We'd like hang out in the administrator's office on the
Yeah,
floor doing
yeah,
our work and
yeah.
stuff. Like, it was very cool. And I got to meet and form relationships with every resident, like one at a time as they moved in. So it was
Was
like,
it a bigger facility?
it was standard size, like 100 and something beds.
So yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but it was brand new. It
Yeah.
was so nice. It was scorpions everywhere.
oh my lord. Sounds like my she shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this place,
Wow.
it's so incredible.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know how we're running on time, but
Well,
this
let's
is,
tell everybody where we can find the book. So we've got it's coming out on Amazon.
yes, Amazon on the 23rd. It should all be available now.
Perfect.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we can look forward to March 26th.
Okay.
The hardcover will be available on Amazon.
There we go.
That's a little scoop for you.
Yeah.
And then if you guys know me personally, I have a stash of books. You can reach out and I can get them signed and whatnot for you, personalized.
And we do. We'll put a link on there, and you guys can always reach out to me and Nick, and we'll make sure and put them in contact with you, or we'll get them the books or whatever we can do.
That would be awesome.
I mean, that's
and
just,
they can follow me on
Absolutely.
Instagram, Shawn__Hart,
There you
or
go.
there's my author page, S Raymond Hart on Gmail.
Okay.
Or,
no. On the
what's it called?
Instagram.
You can get me on Gmail too.
Yeah, you can hit me up on there if you want to.
But there's
and then he's got an OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
You can hit him up on too.
Yeah, that's,
we'll hide that one. It'll be it's a little paid
that's
subscription.
S. Raymond
Yeah.
Hearts you. Yeah.
Yeah, with the it's HART, not
exactly.
not the other one.
But yeah, and thank you so much for having me on this.
I am so glad
program.
you were here. I
It's
am so
been
proud
such
of
a
you.
pleasure.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of you. I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait to read through this whole
Thank
thing.
you. Yeah, well, later this week I'll throw you out a copy. Chuck it up to you.
Good, yeah. Send me launch. Hit me in the head, knock some sense
Get
into
a
me or
potato
something.
launcher kind of
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It was my pleasure.
We're gonna have you back on and follow your journey.
Let's do it. Maybe we can talk in the middle of writing the next one, and we can see how that's going.
That's gonna be good. Thanks, brother.
Thank
Love
you
you.
so
Proud
much.
of you.
Thank you
Good
so
job.
much.
Good job.
I appreciate it.
That is so cool. And cut.
I put a blessing on it, see me dripping in it 24/7 on it. I'm just being honest, holy water dripping from my neck to my crepe, so I'm two-stepping on it like